Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of True Talks. This is Mamta Sharma from iChart Support Foundation, and this is a special interview series where we'll try to answer questions on various themes to understand self and life. To answer our questions, we have with us Nitin Shah, founder and director of Institute of Clinical Hypnosis and Related Sciences and iChart Support Foundation. Welcome once again, Nitin, to the 10th episode.
Thank you, Mamta. How are you?
I am good, and I'm sure everyone who is tuned in is too. So, welcome everyone to this 10th episode, in which today we are going to focus on mind and body from sickness to health. If you have any questions or suggestions or any comments, please leave them in the comments below. And you can also start a watch party so that your friends and connections can also benefit from this interview today. So, Nitin, since yesterday we were talking about how we all want to lead a happy healthy life, health is really important, and mind and body are connected. But before we go to the body, can we talk about mind first? I understand that when we say mind, we are not talking about the physical brain, but something more than that. I also understand that people now talk about conscious mind, unconscious mind, and most of us are aware of the broad difference. But for the sake of clarity, I would like to ask you a couple of questions about the mind. So, beginning with, what is the difference between the conscious and the unconscious mind?
So, Mamta, let me explain this to you with the help of an example.
Correct.
Have you ever had a situation in your life where in the night you wanted
Hmm.
to get up in the morning and you put an alarm before sleeping,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
yet the next day, when the
Hmm.
alarm rang,
Hmm.
almost automatically your hand scrawled out of the bed and you put the alarm on snooze.
Yeah, it's so frequently.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
do you notice how in the night before you slept, there was a conscious effort that you put in, there was a conscious decision that you made that
Yes.
you wanted to wake up early in the morning? That's the
Hmm.
conscious mind, right? Someone who's
Correct.
making a decision, something that you
Hmm.
are aware of, and something
Hmm.
that you are doing with your conscious effort.
Correct.
While in the morning, when when the hand crawls out of the bed and puts the
Hmm.
alarm on snooze,
Hmm.
it's almost like it's happening on an autopilot,
Correct.
right? And
Hmm.
that autopilot is what we talk about in terms of the unconscious.
Okay.
So basically, yeah.
So will it be fair to say that uh, things that I'm aware of are
Hmm.
being handled by the conscious mind, and things that I'm not aware of are being handled by the unconscious mind?
Um, Not necessarily. That what we're
Okay.
talking about is things that you're aware of and that you're doing consciously, where you're putting in conscious efforts.
Okay.
That's being controlled by the conscious mind. But things
Okay.
that you are not putting in conscious efforts for,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Um, you may be consciously aware of it, but you're not consciously putting effort for it. That's being controlled by the subconscious. So take the example of breathing. When you are
Hmm.
breathing, you
Hmm.
can consciously be aware of your breathing without really putting an effort to breathe, without really consciously modifying your breathing pattern,
Hmm.
right? So that natural breathing pattern is what we call as the pattern that is controlled by the unconscious,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? But
Okay.
at the same time, there is a possibility that you may choose to observe, you may consciously make an effort to change the breathing pattern.
Okay.
Then that becomes conscious effort, right?
Okay.
So, in short,
Hmm.
anything that is happening in your life in terms of your behavior,
Hmm.
naturally, automatically, and effortlessly,
Hmm.
that's being controlled by the unconscious.
All right. So you're telling me that any behavior I'm involved in, um, if I want to change it, but I'm not able to, then that would
Hmm.
be that is being controlled by the unconscious.
Any behavior that I'm involved in naturally, automatically is being controlled by the unconscious. Whether I want to change it or not is a separate issue altogether,
Okay.
right? For
Okay.
example, so let's take both examples. Let's
Hmm.
say I want to quit smoking,
Hmm.
but every time I look at a cigarette, I naturally pick up the cigarette and start smoking. Well, it's not
Hmm.
that to stop myself from smoking, I have to put an effort. But to
Hmm.
smoke, I don't have to put an effort. It's just happening like naturally.
Right.
That's also being controlled by the unconscious. And let's take another example of brushing a teeth. I
Hmm.
wake up in the morning in a half sleepy state. I'm able
Hmm.
to brush my teeth, and I don't have to consciously make an effort. How am I supposed to brush my teeth? How many times am I supposed to move my brush in one direction?
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
it's just happening naturally and automatically,
Hmm.
right? Many a times we brush our teeth, but we are not even aware of the fact that we have already brushed our teeth.
Hmm. Okay.
Something similar happens with driving. There are so many times when you're driving a car from your house to your office, and
Hmm.
yet you don't really. It's not that you've put in a lot of conscious effort to drive. It's just that you've driven the car, and many times you don't even realize how you've gone from your house to your office.
But when I'm driving, am I not? I'm conscious. Am I not?
So when you're driving, you're consciously aware, and this is one of the things that a lot of people kind of get confused about. I think we
Hmm.
spoke about this during the meditation wala
Hmm.
episode
Hmm.
slightly,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
where there's
Hmm.
a difference between conscious awareness and conscious
Hmm.
effort,
Hmm.
right? So
Okay.
when you're driving, yes, you're
Hmm.
consciously aware, because if you're
Hmm.
not aware, you will not be able to drive. You will not
Hmm.
even know when the cars are coming from the other side, when your body has to react to the cars coming from the other side,
Yeah. Right.
right? But
Hmm.
the actual act of driving,
Hmm.
okay, imagine if you were to do everything while you're driving consciously,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
means you had to then consciously calculate how
Hmm.
far is the steering from the gear, at what
Hmm.
speed should your hand leave the steering so that it can reach the gear at the right
Hmm.
place. You
Hmm.
need to be able to consciously see where the gear is. When
Hmm.
you lift your leg to change
Hmm.
the gear, you have to
Hmm.
know where is the accelerator, where is the brake. You need to be able to calculate at what speed you will lift up the leg. Or if you were to
Hmm.
try and do all of them consciously, it's
Hmm.
it's kind of impossible for you to actually be able to drive. So yes, you're consciously aware, and conscious awareness is important,
Hmm.
but you're not putting in conscious efforts. You're not doing it consciously. It's still happening naturally and automatically. You have learned to do it automatically, and that's the reason why when you have any habits,
Hmm.
okay, the whole idea of habits is this, right? That when you develop a particular habit, that habit actually makes things happen smoothly for you.
Hmm.
So those habits technically are being controlled by the unconscious. But when you're trying to develop a habit, do you know how much of an effort do we have to put in to develop that habit?
Yeah, exactly. If we go back to driving, when initially we are very conscious of each and every action, then we are very clumsy at it,
Perfect.
right? And as we develop that habit, let's say for the sake of the example, we are developing the habit, right? In this case of driving, then gradually, when it becomes unconscious, then the driving becomes smoother, right?
Correct.
Right. Perfect.
And
So
the
in
and
that,
the thing
yeah.
between and
Hmm.
and the thing between conscious and unconscious is that yes, while a lot of things, at least the decisions start at a conscious level, whether you want to do something or not. While those
Hmm.
decisions may be influenced by a lot of past experiences, a lot of emotions which are
Hmm.
actually being generated or triggered by the unconscious. But
Hmm.
at least the eventual decision, the
Hmm.
pros and cons, are
Hmm.
generally decided. But the application of that decision,
Hmm.
if you leave it to the conscious mind, it
Hmm.
can become very difficult. It can become like you're putting in a lot of effort to do it. If you can take the assistance of unconscious, you can help those processes that needs to be done regularly
Hmm.
be handled by the unconscious, then things
Hmm.
become a lot more smoother for you.
Okay, fair enough. But in that case, if the unconscious is handling behavior and helping us do things naturally and automatically, why do we need to be aware of that if unconscious processes are working perfectly?
So the thing is, unconsciouses work perfectly to replicate the process. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
once you have been indulging in a behavior, the same behavior will get processed, applied more or less in the same way.
Hmm.
But what if the original behavior itself is creating a problem? Take the example of smoking, okay,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
even waking up in the morning. Let's take that as an example. Now,
Hmm.
when the alarm rings,
Hmm.
if I'm not even consciously aware of the fact that my hand is crawling out of the bed and putting the alarm on snooze,
Hmm.
right? It will
Hmm.
become difficult for me to change that behavior.
Correct.
But when I'm waking up, while my hand is scrolling towards the alarm, if I'm aware of what thoughts are running in my head, what is it
Hmm.
that I'm feeling,
Hmm.
okay, then that
Hmm.
awareness can become the first step for me to create a change. And then you know how we spoke about
Right.
creating a change as far as the thoughts and emotions are concerned, more naturally, more automatically, with the help of when then statements and anchoring.
Correct. Correct. Yes. Yes.
Now, once you're consciously aware of it, then you know that you can use one of those processes,
Hmm. Makes
right?
sense.
But if you're
Makes.
not aware of it, and if
Hmm.
you're trying to resolve or change a particular behavior on your own, that will
Hmm.
become difficult. Then you don't know where
Right.
to create that change.
That's very interesting. Uh, so, which means, are there processes, so I can use the different processes to work with the unconscious to change such habits or patterns or any behaviors that I have not been able to change?
Oh, there are a lot of processes that you can use, and for everything that you want to change in terms of, for example, if you're trying to change automatic thoughts, which are
Hmm.
again they're automatic, right? They're being controlled by the unconscious,
Hmm.
or you want to
Hmm.
change your your conditioned emotions, then we have already
Hmm.
done the techniques for that, when then and
Hmm.
anchoring. But there are
Hmm.
other processes also to help you change your behaviors. So,
Hmm.
if you are indulging in, let's say, smoking, for example, and smoking is
Hmm.
again an automatic behavior for a lot of people, then you can work
Hmm.
with processes to change that. If you are indulging in compulsive eating, for that matter,
Hmm.
you can
Hmm.
also change that. Um, if you have a tendency to, let's say, procrastinate certain work, that's also
Hmm.
behavior, right? And a lot of people would
Hmm.
say it's almost like on autopilot. It just keeps getting delayed,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
Even that delay is happening at an unconscious level where your unconscious is pushing you away from those particular things, and you can actually address them. So any behavior that you want to change,
Mm-hmm.
there are processes for that that you can use to be able to change those behaviors.
Okay. And you're also saying that if I know how to work with the unconscious effectively using some processes, then any change can become uh, automatic. But isn't change difficult? And many people are stuck with things because it's very difficult to change what they're currently doing and it needs a lot of determination. But now you're saying that if I can work with the unconscious, if I know how, then I would not need to put in a lot of effort.
Well, so all right, let me put it this way. When I
Hmm.
say you don't have to put in a lot of efforts, that basically
Hmm.
means that the effort doesn't come across as something that you have to do,
Oh.
where you're putting in your energy. It's just going to
Hmm.
happen more naturally for you. So things that you
Hmm.
have to do, you will still have to do, right? For example, when you're driving a car, your hand still needs to move from the steering to the gear,
Right.
but that doesn't have to be so tiring that you feel that kitni mehnat ka kaam, it's so much of an effort. It just happens more effortlessly.
Right. True.
Okay. And
Right.
yes, as long as you know the right processes, any
Hmm.
particular habit that you want to change,
Hmm.
they can be changed.
Okay. That's very interesting. And I'm sure a lot of people can benefit from that. Uh, so, okay, now I understand what is conscious mind, unconscious mind, what is conscious effort, the difference between conscious effort and conscious awareness, and that behaviors
Okay,
can be
Mamta,
changed.
just before you go ahead, sorry, just before
Hmm.
you go ahead, one
Hmm.
last thing. So basically, to summarize, that change does not have to be something where you have to consciously struggle.
Hmm.
You can choose to create a change consciously and then use the
Hmm.
right processes to make the change more natural. And that's possible.
Okay. Okay. Uh, Fair enough. But so far, we have only talked about behavior, conscious behavior, unconscious behavior, conscious effort, how behavior can be changed. But all this is behavior. I thought we are going to talk about health.
So, yes, when we talk about health, for
Hmm.
us, our health is a result of certain processes which are running in our body, right?
Hmm. Right.
Those are internal behaviors of the body.
Oh, yes, we can say that.
My digestion, my immunity, the way my system processes uh, things that are happening around me, the way it
Hmm.
deals with all the things that I get exposed to, right? All of these
Right.
are internal processes, and are these processes things that I'm controlling consciously?
No, not at all. May not even be aware.
Precisely. So if
Hmm.
we are not even aware of it, who is
Hmm.
controlling it?
The unconscious, because we are talking
The
about it.
unconscious, right?
Right,
Obviously.
right.
So because if I'm consciously not controlling it, and my body,
Hmm.
it's see, when you actually study body, you realize it is almost like an internal intelligence that makes things happen.
Correct.
Okay. So where is that intelligence coming from? If I'm consciously not involved in that intelligence, then by
Hmm.
definition it becomes unconscious.
Correct.
True?
Right. Hmm.
And
So it
that's
would be
what
fair to say
unconscious
that
is.
part of that intelligence I'm also aware of, which is my conscious mind.
Correct. So I'm consciously aware of it, but I am not consciously putting an effort to control it. So therefore, I actually distinguish between conscious awareness and conscious effort.
Hmm.
Right? I am not
Correct.
really running the processes. The processes are running unconsciously. I am simply becoming aware of it.
Hmm.
Right? And yes, with a lot of training, there are some of
Hmm.
these bodily processes which are unconscious that you can learn to control consciously. But again, to say that I'm going to control those processes consciously 24/7, I don't
Hmm.
think it's possible, nor is it smart, because the amount of effort you're putting in over there can actually be
Hmm.
utilized at other places. But yes, if you
Hmm.
were to say, I want to develop conscious awareness of it, but it needs to happen more naturally, more automatically,
Hmm.
that makes
Hmm.
more sense.
Okay. But if that intelligence is running it, and in a lot of most cases it runs it, then what happens when there are issues? What happens to that intelligence?
Correct. So, technically, even those health issues which are being
Hmm.
created are
Hmm.
at one level being created by the unconscious. Obviously, I'm not talking about issues where you meet with an accident and you have a fracture,
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
right? Those are different
Hmm.
issues altogether. But
Hmm.
if you
Hmm.
talk about chronic illnesses,
Hmm.
today most doctors will tell you that most chronic illnesses are a result of lifestyle issues, stress related issues, or they would call it psychosomatic,
Hmm. Yes, they do.
right? All three of
Hmm.
them by definition is related to mind.
Hmm. Yes. Yes. Now
And
that
I
you're
am not
saying, yeah.
correct, and I am
Hmm.
not creating those diseases consciously at least.
Hmm. Correct.
So who's creating it?
But why would an intelligent system create disease?
So one of the things that we generally refer to when we work with people both in therapies and in terms of self-help is that
Hmm.
your body is extremely intelligent and so is your unconscious, right?
Correct. Hmm.
If your unconscious is doing something, it always has a purpose behind it.
Okay.
Okay? It's always trying to serve some purpose. Now, in
Hmm.
cases where you have stress related issues,
Hmm.
technically, isn't the disease telling you that you are not able to cope up with stress effectively and you need to develop a coping mechanism?
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
So, isn't your unconscious bringing your awareness to something which is, well, not working and that needs to be corrected?
Right. Right.
There are also places where the unconscious is bringing your awareness to the fact that there's a lot of suppression taking place. Remember, we spoke about the breakdown cycle?
Hmm. Yes.
Uh,
Correct.
can you summarize it for all the people who are there, probably who have not watched the earlier video?
Okay. So if I'm saying it correctly, and if I remember correctly, uh, whenever there is a crisis, our
Mhm.
first instinct is to either fight or flight, right? But we
Yes,
are not able to do that in every situation.
correct.
As a result, so we try to I remember you using the term play dead. So we play dead, or we try to ignore it or shove it under the carpet. Because the problem is still not gone away, we experience certain emotions which bother us,
Hmm.
things like anger, helplessness, and so on. And in most cases we are not even able to express those emotions effectively.
Correct.
As a result, the emotions get suppressed and stored in the body. And at some point, the body and the mind run out of the capacity to store anymore. and the person experiences a physical or mental emotional breakdown.
Brilliant. Perfect. So you've been paying attention, right?
Yes.
Brilliant.
Hmm.
So that's the actual idea, that because there's a lot of suppression happening, many a
Hmm.
times the disease that the body creates is the
Hmm.
body's way of telling you that there is no space left for me to store anything else. Please do something about it,
Hmm.
right? So it is still
Correct. Makes
trying to
sense.
serve a purpose,
Correct.
right?
Makes sense.
Um,
Hmm.
which means that basically
Hmm.
there's a purpose behind these physical problems.
Correct.
So
Hmm.
if we can understand that purpose and address it
Hmm.
correctly,
Hmm.
then the chances that we'll be able to resolve these issues and get
Hmm.
them sorted are higher.
All right. So you're saying that every health problem we have is being created by the unconscious to serve a purpose or to send a message to us. And by working with the unconscious, we'll be able to solve any health issue.
So what I'm saying is, uh, all health issues which are chronic and psychosomatic in nature,
Hmm.
that are being created by the unconscious, and I don't say it. The
Hmm.
moment you say that those are uh, diseases or issues related to your lifestyle, related to your stress, related to the mind-body connection, the
Hmm. Hmm.
doctors are
Hmm.
already saying that,
Oh, yes.
right? So I'm really
Hmm.
not saying anything which is new. I'm simply stating it probably in a way in which it's more easily understandable,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right. Right.
And if they are being controlled by the mind, or if
Hmm.
these problems are a result of the mind body connection, then obviously
Hmm.
working with the mind can help you resolve these issues.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
Now the problem or the reason why a lot of people are not able to resolve it is
Hmm.
because the purpose behind these problems
Hmm.
is known at the level of unconscious,
Hmm.
and consciously people are not even aware of it,
Correct.
right? So if they're not even aware of those problems, then how do
Hmm.
they resolve it?
Hmm.
So they don't know what to do about it, they don't know how to deal with that.
Right. Right. Okay. So you're saying that if there are psychosomatic issues or stress related issues, working with the unconscious will prove really effective,
True.
right? And
True.
if not, then these processes will not work. So, for example, you refer to if there is an accident and one gets injured, those are like separate issues.
See, so all right. So let me put it this way. I personally
Hmm.
actually think every physiological issue
Hmm.
also has a psychological component. Now, the difference
Hmm.
is there are times
Hmm.
when psychological issues will call physiological problems or physical problems,
Correct.
and there are places where physical problems will lead to psychological issues,
Oh yes, yes, that can also
right?
happen.
So
Hmm.
you can still work with the mind to help
Hmm.
people deal with either
Hmm.
the cause that is leading to the health issue
Hmm.
or the effect of the health issue,
All
right?
right.
So that people don't find it to be something that they are suffering with. Again, they may experience certain
Hmm.
pain, but they don't necessarily have to suffer because of that pain.
Correct. Correct. Right. So, can you give an example? I remember talking about pain and suffering, but can you, in this context, can you give us an example?
Okay, so do you know how certain people lose their limbs at times,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
there are certain people who, when they lose their
Hmm.
but mentally the suffering that they go through because of that loss is very high,
Yes.
right? While there are
Hmm.
other people who will lose a limb,
Hmm.
obviously that loss of limb does cause hindrance in in the way they live their life, in terms of the efforts that they have to put in and the way they have to cope up with things, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But
Hmm.
mentally they're so strong that it doesn't really hinder their quality of life. In fact, in many cases, some of these people are handling their lives far better than those who have all the limbs working correctly.
Hmm. Yeah, there are like these para athletes. There are people who have like done incredible things. Like I I think there was one person who has no arms or legs, and they've even climbed Mount Everest. So that's incredible.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right.
Uh,
So this is
hmm.
this is one example of it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Again, take
Mm-hmm.
a, let's say, a disease. Let's talk about cancer. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, there is a possibility that
Hmm.
someone has deeper emotional issues which is causing the disease that they are having, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
there is also a possibility that
Hmm.
the cancer is causing psychological pain to people post cancer, post they realize that they have cancer,
Hmm. I think it happens in most cases. Yes.
right? So
Hmm.
now you can actually use unconscious processor at both levels. Again, what I'm talking about with respect to cancer is
Hmm.
basically more currently in the area of research where there are different organizations which are uh, which are researching on the mind body connection as far as some of these diseases are concerned.
Hmm.
But
Yes. Yes. Yes.
the initial indicators are that for a lot of people, again, I'm not saying all the people, but for a lot of
Hmm.
people who
Hmm.
have cancer, also
Hmm.
tend to display deep rooted anger towards self.
Okay. Yes.
Right
Hmm.
now,
Hmm.
when you're working with a cancer patient and you start
Hmm.
working with this deep rooted anger,
Hmm.
it does increase their ability to go through the treatment more effectively, which is one.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
second, the psychological suffering that they may be having reduces to a large extent. Again, when I'm talking about cancer, the idea
Hmm.
is not to work with mind related processes, unconscious mind, in the absence of medical treatment,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
When we talk
Hmm.
about working with mind is more complementary. If you need
Okay.
physical treatment, you need physical treatment. If you need to go through a chemo treatment, you need to go through a chemo treatment, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
it. And the reason why you need to go through it is because the risks involved are very high. Whether
Right.
mind by itself would be able to cure someone or not,
Hmm.
the jury is out on that. A lot of people believe the mind will be able to, and many a times, even in medical science, you actually see cases of spontaneous remission where people had a
Yes.
deadly disease, doctors gave up, and then eventually one day you realize that the disease has just disappeared, and it's called
Yes.
spontaneous remission in medical science,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
there is enough evidence that the mind can even work with those issues. But obviously,
Hmm.
the risks involved are so high that you don't
Hmm.
want to experiment with only mind related processes if there's a scope of also using physical treatment, right?
Hmm. Right.
Even if you were to, for a moment, consider that
Hmm.
mind related processes are only complementary,
Hmm.
okay, then consider the application of mind related processes. One, you can work with deeper underlying issues which may be causing the problem,
Hmm.
right? So in
Correct.
this case, rooted anger towards self.
Hmm.
Second, you can also work towards improving the immunity of the body so that the
Hmm.
body copes up um, with the medical treatment, the medicines, and the whatever other treatments they are doing more
Hmm.
effectively,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Right. In this case,
And
the side effects.
correct. So you can actually deal with the side effects related to the chemo and the other treatments that they are going through.
Hmm. 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 Right.
Not just this, post the treatment is done physically.
Hmm.
You can also help people to mentally remain in a more positive state of mind so that they are more hopeful about their health, about their life, which any
Hmm.
which ways has shown enough evidence that people recover faster when they are more hopeful about their life,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Right.
And most
Right.
importantly, because you've dealt with the underlying issue, the
Hmm.
chances of relapse is reduced dramatically. And that is where the key application of mind related, unconscious related process come in to actually ensure that
Right.
once you've treated a particular issue,
Hmm.
it, there shouldn't be a relapse.
Hmm. Right. It makes sense logically that we should work with both, uh, in fact, in conjunction with each other. That would be like, I think, a perfect combination.
Correct.
Right. So, Nitin, this is like getting very interesting. Can we have some more examples of mind body connection? So, amputation was one, the cancer thing was one. What else? How else can we understand this?
So see, there are a lot of examples. I'm going to share a couple of models with you now
Okay.
for reference. But these are just models. Please don't apply them blindly. Okay? They need to be
Okay.
combined with a proper interview and other
Okay.
processes to be able to make made use of effectively for health related issues. Right.
Okay. Okay.
But the most basic model, which is also like the easiest to understand, is what we
Hmm.
call as body syndrome.
All right.
Now, in body syndromes, what we're talking about is that the body is divided in 5 different areas,
Okay.
and each area represents a
Hmm.
particular problem, that psychological problem that we may be having.
Okay.
So,
If
for
there is a
example,
problem in that area.
if there's a problem in that area. So, for example,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
first area is called the crying syndrome.
Okay.
Okay, crying syndrome is from your navel up towards your head, covering your entire upper body in an inverted triangle.
Okay. Okay.
And any problem that people are facing in that area, generally aches, pains, heaviness, discomfort,
Hmm.
that will get translated into a crying syndrome, which is generally a result of
Hmm.
not being able to execute a decision that we have taken in our life.
Okay.
And that's the reason why many a times you will come across these people, when you look into their eyes, there's a
Hmm.
feeling that they may cry at any time, while they may not cry at all. But when you look at their eyes, there's almost a feeling that there's so much in them that it would start flowing at any point,
All right. Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the crying syndrome.
Hmm.
Then obviously, if you want to work with those aches, pains, problems, then being able to help people either change their decisions or helping them execute their decisions effectively
Hmm.
will help.
Right.
One of the most popular categories of problems, that will chronic problems that will come in this category, is headaches.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
The second
Right.
category is called the responsibility syndrome, which is in your shoulders, basically navel up, backside of the
Hmm.
body, and minus the crying syndrome.
Okay. So the mirror image, like the back. Uh,
Correct. The backside,
correct.
but it's the
Right.
complete back. It's not just the inverted triangle. In fact, for those of
Okay.
you who are interested, because I can't actually demonstrate that on screen right now, you could
Hmm.
just search body syndrome and you will find a lot of images describing those 5 different areas.
Okay.
If possible, maybe at the end of this session, in some time on the same post, I will add an
Hmm.
image for your reference.
Hmm. Okay. Perfect. Perfect.
Now, so responsibility syndrome, as the name suggests, is responsibility. Classically, is considered in terms of your shoulders. So, if someone
Hmm.
comes and says that I'm having a lot of aches, a lot of pains in my shoulders, that could be an indicator of a responsibility that causing pain to them psychologically.
Okay. Hmm.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Now, once you help them handle that responsibility more effectively, it makes their life easier. The pain generally then goes away.
Hmm.
Then you have the fight syndrome. The flight syndrome, fight is the hands, the desire to fight, but you're not able to fight. So a lot of
Hmm.
people will have this heaviness in their hand. They will have problems with their elbows and so on. Right. Similarly,
Hmm.
flight syndrome, which is you have a desire to run away from somewhere, but you're not able to run away. So generally, aches, pains, discomfort in your legs.
Hmm.
And then there's also the guilt syndrome, which is
Hmm.
basically from your navel down to your legs, starting off your legs, and it's generally because of guilt or financial insecurities.
Oh. Okay.
Right. So
Okay.
these are all
Hmm.
examples of how the mind and the body are connected. Now, remember,
Hmm.
while I'm talking about these examples or these areas, these are simple
Hmm.
guidelines because
Okay.
they're obviously based on generalizations. Someone has done
Hmm.
certain research, and based on those researches, they've realized that most of the problems
Hmm.
that people face when they are in the crying syndrome phase relate
Hmm.
to decision making, but
Hmm.
it can't be blindly applied to everyone.
Okay. All right.
And then there
Right.
are other models like this. So if you have you heard of the book You Can Heal Your Life?
Oh yes, I know about that. By Louise Hay.
Correct.
Oh, that's also mind body. It's full of examples of the mind body connection, right?
Correct. So the entire book basically talks about how the mind and body is connected and how different parts of the body, and they've gone into more details in the body syndrome model that we have spoken about. It's a
Hmm.
good book to refer
Hmm.
um, when you are having certain aches and pains, but just take it with a pinch of salt. Don't apply it blindly. It needs to be contextualized to your life.
Okay. Okay. So, but these are these reliable, and can we use them to understand physical issues?
Well, while they are comparatively reliable, but I don't think they can be applied for everyone, and this includes both the body syndromes and the you can heal your life.
Hmm.
Um, this is only to help you understand the mind-body connections,
Hmm.
um, and to help you understand how there are indicators when we are taking therapies in
Hmm.
terms of categorization of psychological problems with physical issues in particular body parts.
Okay.
But personally speaking, when I am working with the clients, I would not use any of these models to be true.
Oh, but you explained them in so much detail, and now you're saying you don't use them.
Yeah, I'm explaining them in so much of detail because I'm helping you understand the mind body connections and the researches that are already available, right?
Okay.
But the
Hmm.
reason I wouldn't use them in my therapy is because I understand that all researches are based on generalization. Out of 100
Hmm.
people, when 70, 80 people show a positive result, we basically believe that that's a good model to follow,
Hmm.
right? But
Hmm.
that's true when you don't have other processes to directly connect with the unconscious.
Hmm.
In my case, when I'm working with clients, because
Hmm.
I know processes where we can directly connect with the unconscious and we can directly ask the unconscious where is the source of problem coming from. So I don't really
Hmm.
need to depend on a structured model like this. I can have a more
Hmm.
person-centric approach based on the processes that we have.
Hmm. But Nitin, now you've got me intrigued. What are those processes?
Okay, so in hypnosis, there's a process called unconscious talk, where you
Okay.
can directly connect with the unconscious and help the unconscious give you indicators of what the underlying issues are. Then in
Hmm.
NLP, there's a process called end-step reframing, which
Hmm.
basically helps you uh, identify what is the purpose behind a particular physical issue or behavioral issue that you have, so that you can address
Hmm.
that underlying issue.
Okay. So, for example, a person is suffering from, say, chronic pain, and there is no logical. There are times when there is no logical reason for pain. For example, headaches. I mean, I'm just sit. I woke up and I woke up with a headaches. Let's say, there's so we can work with that using these processes.
We can work with that using these processes. Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay. So that's interesting. And you said cancer and how it is related to deep rooted anger. And so, are you saying that we can also use unconscious processes to overcome deeper emotional issues?
Yes, we can use unconscious processes to also overcome deeper emotional issues. In fact,
Hmm.
obviously, because deeper emotional issues, any which ways, become a part of the mind, right? So
Hmm.
they can
Hmm.
be worked upon quite effectively.
Okay. But I remember you saying that, mm, like, we use some processes in the when we were talking about meditation. So, are they like similar processes or?
No, so, okay. So let me explain to you how does it work, and then I'll probably get back to the answer about meditation. Would that be okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So the
Hmm.
thing is, when we talk about working with physical issues,
Hmm.
the idea is to first identify what the symptom is, what the actual physical issue is, right?
Hmm.
Then the next step
Hmm.
is to check with the unconscious what are the reasons behind that particular issue or behind that particular symptom.
Correct.
And there can be two different types of reasons.
Hmm.
One
Hmm.
is it can be serving some purpose. For example, for a lot of people, pain at times leads to attention.
Hmm.
Now, to give you an example, do you know of certain people who have certain psychosomatic pains? Doctors have
Hmm.
told them that there doesn't seem to be a logical reason for it. There's something about
Hmm.
mind and body. They are taking their
Hmm.
medicine, they still complain
Hmm.
about pain. And then when you sit
Hmm.
with them and you
Hmm.
spend some time with them, while you're
Hmm.
spending time with them, the pain disappears. And
Hmm.
then you leave them
Right.
for some time and the pain comes back again.
Yes. Yes. Makes sense.
Right? So
I've seen
now,
that. Yeah.
correct. So now, while that pain is giving them attention, obviously they're consciously not aware of that attention.
Hmm.
And that's the reason why you need an unconscious process to be able to understand
Hmm.
what is the purpose that the
Hmm.
pain in this case is trying to serve.
Right.
Now, once you
Right.
understand the purpose, then you can work with the unconscious again to identify better ways of fulfilling that purpose without having to depend on that pain,
Hmm. Makes sense.
right?
Makes
So
sense.
that will be one of the steps that we will take. Identify the symptoms, identify the unconscious reasons, try to fulfill those unconscious reasons through alternate behaviors. Then next, many a times these emotions are caused by suppression of emotion, as we spoke about earlier,
Hmm.
right? Deeper
Hmm.
emotional
Hmm.
issues. So in that
Yes.
case, we also have to identify those deeper emotional issues, and we have to help people get rid of those deeper emotional issues to help them release the emotions that have been that may have been suppressed in their body,
Hmm.
right?
Correct.
And then,
Hmm.
like I gave you the example of cancer, that you are also working with people to actually be
Hmm.
able to help them develop their immunity, to
Hmm.
actually be able to help them develop the internal strength
Hmm.
required to be able to deal with whatever the internal existing problems are.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting. So you're saying we not only can resolve or fulfill the purpose why the unconscious is creating, say, an issue or a disease with the unconscious processes. We can also work with deeper emotional issues. But now, what has got my attention is you can also use them to help people improve immunity, because I think we are all hearing a lot about how immunity is the only thing that can save you from the virus infection if you get infected. So we can work with I mean, we can use unconscious processes to develop immunity.
All right. So I'll come to that answer in a moment because there's earlier question that I have not answered that you had asked, which was about
Yeah,
meditation,
yeah.
right? And
Hmm.
to answer the meditation question first, the processes that we used in the previous module, the
Hmm.
meditation wala episode,
Hmm.
are
Hmm.
actually
Hmm. Hmm.
are processes that are not meant to help you deal with deeper emotional issues and health related issues. While you can use
Okay.
variations of them to develop immunity, and I'll probably talk more about immunity in a couple of moments, but they
Hmm.
are not
Hmm.
really meant for working with deeper emotional issues.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
For that,
Okay.
I would still recommend go to a therapist, visit a therapist.
Yeah.
That would
Right.
be that would be
Right.
better, right?
Correct.
Now,
Makes
coming
sense.
to improving immunity, can we
Hmm.
improve our immunity through unconscious processes? Well, there are
Hmm.
already so many people who talk about when you're regularly meditating, when you're regularly using yoga, your immunity system is stronger, right?
Oh yes. 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 Yes.
That's already given, right? Matlab, that's already accepted phenomena. That mind
Hmm.
and how much in charge of the mind you are
Hmm.
would influence your immunity.
Hmm.
Now, the only thing that we are talking about is can we just say meditation is the way, or are there
Hmm.
specific unconscious processes that can be used to help us improve our immunity?
Hmm. 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 Yes.
So the answer is yes, there are specific unconscious processes. That doesn't mean that it will help you develop your immunity overnight,
Ah. Mm-hmm.
right? You will still have to
Hmm.
do it consistently over a period of time.
Right.
But yes, when
Right.
you keep doing those processes over a period of time, it does help you both develop the internal strength and the immunity to be
Hmm.
able to handle situations more effectively. And your body also learns to cope up with a lot of new things that it may not know how to cope up with earlier.
Oh, so like so would it be fair to say that the unconscious intelligence would develop an internal habit?
It would, to an extent, yes.
Right. Makes sense. Makes
Okay.
sense.
And
Perfect.
also, you're asking about the meditation processes. So,
Hmm.
like I
Hmm.
said, the meditation processes are more started,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
there are other specific meditations for immunity or hypnotic sessions for immunity. You could probably
Hmm.
search online. They are related to white light in most cases that you would be
Hmm.
able to use. Or if you want, I can probably run through a quick process with you right now, which can also become like a um, like an example process that people who are watching this video can do with themselves.
Oh, yes. After the past few episodes, I am all game for any processes that you want to do.
Perfect. So before I'm running that process, I think someone has asked a question
Okay.
that can irritable bowel syndrome come under attention needed by a person unconsciously? And
Hmm.
Madhura has asked that question. So
Hmm.
Madhura, if the question is can it be about attention, the answer is yes. But if the question is it surely about attention, the answer is we don't know. And that's the
Hmm.
reason I actually end up
Hmm.
saying that it's far
Hmm.
better to visit
Hmm.
a therapist who knows how to help you work with your unconscious, or to learn processes which can help
Hmm.
you work with your unconscious so that you can understand what the underlying causes are. Now, if
Hmm.
you are not in a position to be able to meet a therapist right now, and I understand we are all on in lockdown and so on, especially with hypnosis, people may not
Hmm.
want to do hypnosis or meditative processes with you online for specific purposes, especially health
Hmm.
related purposes. So,
Hmm.
what I would suggest is a variation of what we spoke about in terms of dreams. I think in the
Hmm.
positive thinking episode.
Hmm.
So, if you are the one who's having the irritable bowel syndrome, then just before you sleep,
Hmm.
ask yourself that, while I'm sleeping, I will like my unconscious to be able to help me understand what is the purpose that this irritable bowel syndrome is serving in my life, and
Hmm.
what can I do to be able to
Hmm.
resolve the underlying problem that's
Hmm.
causing the irritable bowel syndrome. When I
Hmm.
wake up in the morning, I should be able to remember the dream, and I should be
Hmm.
able to understand what the dream means, along with being able to apply the learning naturally and effectively in my life. So basically,
Hmm.
what you're doing is you're making your unconscious,
Hmm.
your friend, your ally, and you're asking your unconscious to help you and support you while you're sleeping to get answers. And I'm sure a lot of you have already experienced getting answers in your sleep state,
Hmm.
right? So now we are just directing the mind to give us specifically what answer we are looking for.
Right.
Okay? I hope that
That's
answers your question. If not, then if you're looking for a process and if you are already trained in NLP or hypnosis, then reframing is a end-step reframing is a very good process to be able to work with physical issues, especially chronic ones. And if that's not possible, then I would suggest probably meet for a session. And if you know of someone who's looking for help, who's seeking help for these problems, then probably recommending them to visit a therapist may be a good idea. But yes, unconscious processes can help them overcome that issue. And now coming to Mamta, the demo, the quick
Hmm.
activity that I
Hmm.
wanted to do with you, right?
Yes.
So what I want you to
Yes.
do is just close your eyes
Okay.
and just observe your breath. Take three slow, deep breaths. And as you're taking those three slow, deep breaths,
Hmm.
allow yourself to focus on just one point in your body. It could be at around your forehead, it can be in your chest, it can be anywhere, but one particular point of your body that I want you to start focusing on.
Hmm.
And the interesting thing about the human system is that when you keep focusing on one point for too long, okay, and when I
Hmm.
say too long, it's actually not that long, but once you keep focusing on that point, you begin to
Hmm.
notice like this white light, this small white dot.
Hmm.
And then as you continue focusing on that white dot, you notice
Hmm.
that that white color becomes broader, brighter. It
Hmm.
almost becomes starts spreading to cover every cell of your body. So what I want you to do is, as you notice that white color, I literally want you to allow that color to spread to each and every cell of your body.
Hmm.
And as it begins to spread to every cell of your body, once it reaches the place where your head is
Hmm.
completely covered with that white light, and that white light is spreading to other parts of your body. While the white light is spreading down to the other parts of your body, you will also notice the white light spreading up, going up towards the sky
Hmm.
and going down all the way into the ground.
Hmm.
It's almost like there's this ray of white light which is completely connecting you all the way from the top to the bottom. and notice that white light
Hmm.
has this really soothing, really calming kind of a feeling associated to it.
It's almost like as if I'm wrapped in a blanket of this light.
Perfect. And as you experience this white light all across your body, covering your entire body, request the white light to help you heal
Hmm.
any particular challenge that you're facing in your body. And more importantly, request the white light to work on your immune system to be able to make the immune system stronger, to help you develop a stronger immunity. And everyone experiences this differently. So I'm not really sure how would you experience this strengthening of the immune system, but you will
Hmm.
notice something changing inside you which will make you realize that yes, I am feeling stronger, I am feeling healthier, and you will have your own experience to be able to understand what that health, what that strength feels like, what it means. So once you're able to experience that, I want you to quickly just, while experiencing it, describe that for us.
Hmm. Can you repeat what you asked? I'm.
All right. So what I asked was that once you notice that immune system is becoming stronger and that you're feeling this internal strength, I want you to
Hmm.
just describe to me what does this strength feel like? How do you know that that strength is developing internally?
Okay, so it seems that I'm able to breathe more fully,
Hmm.
so I can take deeper breaths.
Brilliant.
Um, mm, then uh, uh, it's almost as if I feel lighter, like
Perfect.
physically lighter,
Perfect.
and uh, so I have this. So I'm not sure, but I have this feeling that somehow, because for some reason I started imagining when we began the source of light in the abdomen.
Hmm.
So it feels that that part is like feeling better, feeling healthier. Uh,
Brilliant. With this lightness,
yes.
this health, um, the fact that you're able to breathe more fully, are these
Hmm.
all indicators for you that your health is improving or that you're in the process of improving your health further?
Yes, yes. In fact, these are the two areas that like I have been, concerned about. So for some time. So like I've I believe I need to get rid of fat in my lower abdomen, and of course, given the COVID thing, like I've been concerned whether I'm breathing, fully or not.
Brilliant. So now that you're experiencing this, just allow that white light to remain there and request the
Mm,
white light to continue working uh, on this internal strength, on this immunity.
mm,
And with that realization that the white light has started working on this, I want you to slowly come back to the present.
mm,
Uh, just repeat the words integrate, integrate, integrate in your mind,
mm.
and then bring both your hands together, rub them, bring them closer to your eyes, rub your eyes, and then slowly open your eyes, coming back to the present, feeling good and fresh about yourself. Looking forward to a happier, healthier, and a more fulfilling life.
That was, I mean, I've run out of adjectives. So that was
Brilliant.
almost miraculous. It was, I'm already feeling better because I was feeling in this position, sitting in this position for some time, and it was like, you know, how the body starts to go numb after you've been sitting in a position for long. And it's like, though I'm still in that position, it's gone. That feeling is gone. So perfect.
Perfect. Brilliant. Now, so just before we go ahead, there are a couple of questions that I'm going to address quickly.
Mm-hmm.
One question is the in Vipassana meditation practice, we
Mm-hmm.
observe the body
Hmm.
and the pain vanishes. So, see, in Vipassana,
Hmm.
when you are observing the body, what really
Hmm.
happens is you are actually going deeper into the pain in the sense that you are really becoming more aware of it. And once you
Hmm.
become very aware of it, there is
Hmm.
many a time position that happens because of which you are able to kind of look at your body from outside.
Hmm.
Now, is that self hypnosis technically any meditation that you do where you are
Hmm.
doing something with yourself because you're suggesting yourself to do it? By logic,
Hmm.
that becomes self hypnosis. Okay.
Hmm.
So for
Hmm.
every meditation which begins with any kind of suggestion, whether by someone else or by yourself, by
Hmm.
technical definition, will be
Hmm.
hypnosis.
Hmm.
Now, that immunity? No, the answer is that's not immunity. Can that help you
Hmm.
develop immunity? Probably combined with a couple of other suggestions, yes, but by itself
Hmm.
may not. It's just helping you disassociate from the body. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
And probably a couple of other things that are running in the background that are helping you feel better. For immunity,
Hmm.
probably adding a couple of additional suggestions may help.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
also with Vipassana, because you develop a sense of deeper mindfulness. That mindfulness in the long run may help you develop a stronger immunity. That can happen
Hmm.
for sure.
Hmm.
And then Sumedh has asked, can this be applied to autoimmune condition? So Sumedh, can this be applied? The answer is yes. Will it work? Always the answer is you will only have to work and try and see how much it works. In my
Hmm.
experience, whenever I worked with any health issues, whether it's related to me or it's related to clients, I've always
Hmm.
got results. Matlab, it just is whether the results are immediate or the results are after some time, and whether the
Hmm.
results are by itself or are they in combination with any medical treatment that we are doing. But the
Hmm.
results are always better than what we could have expected if we did not use these processes.
Hmm. Hmm.
Can you and therefore and if the question is can this particular hypnotic process or meditation process that we did white light be used for
Hmm.
autoimmune conditions, you
Hmm.
can use it, but this by itself will not be enough. You will need to do something more than this. This is more
Hmm.
about
Hmm. I think we lost Nitin there. Uh, he should join back momentarily. Nitin, can you hear us? I think it's a network glitch. Let's wait. Oh, he's back.
sorry, I got disconnected. Where did I get disconnected?
Uh, so you were saying that it should be used in conjunction with any other medical treatments that have been recommended. But
Correct. And I
whenever it is used, it yields better results.
correct. And I did mention that only the meditation, the white light meditation will not be enough. Something more than
Hmm.
that would need to be done, right?
Right. Yes.
Correct. So basically, in short, if you're already healthy and you're looking at becoming healthier,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
then
Hmm.
the white light meditation by itself should be enough. But if you are having certain conditions and you want to resolve those conditions,
Hmm.
then by itself this process will not be enough. You will need to do certain advanced processes for that.
Right.
Okay. And then
Right.
Madhura has also asked, can this help with regulating irregular periods? The answer is yes. I've worked with at least a couple of clients with irregular periods. And again, the white light by itself may not be enough, while it may help. That will be one of the process that you can use. certain other things, especially the ones that I spoke about in terms of n-step reframing,
Hmm.
will be very useful. The dream bit can extremely be effective, and it's like your unpaid assistance. Well, you can literally work with your unconscious whenever you want to work with the help of your dreams,
Hmm.
right? And lastly, if there are deeper emotional issues, then
Hmm.
those would also need to be dealt with. But that's not the case in every situation. So in most cases, white light is a very good starting point. If that works by itself, you don't need to do anything else. If you're not
Hmm.
getting results as quickly as you will expect, then probably I'll add n-step reframing to it. And if we realize that there are deeper emotional issues, then we will also work with the deeper emotional issues.
Right, right. And Nitin, the process that you just did with me, so is this enough or do I need to repeat it? So, how does this work?
So this is a process that you can do with yourself whenever you would like to do it. It's basically a good process to do every morning before you get, just after you wake up, or every night
Hmm.
just before you go off to sleep.
Right, because the unconscious needs time to develop that internal strength or right immunity.
Well, it's not just the unconscious needs time. There are times when this can actually happen very quickly and very effectively. But the thing is that
Okay.
we want to continue working with the mind because there's always a scope for improvement, right?
Hmm.
And while we are talking about the mind and so on, really what we know, including what I'm talking about right now, we
Hmm.
only
Hmm. Hmm.
know probably just the scratch, just the surface level of what the power of mind is.
Hmm. Hmm.
There's a lot more that we need to explore and a lot more that we can learn,
Correct.
right? So when you keep
Right.
doing processes like this with yourself, at times you also end up experiencing other side benefits that you had not expected earlier.
For example.
Well, as I said, immunity is just one example of it. One of the things, so when, especially with n-step reframing and some of these
Hmm.
processes that we are talking about,
Hmm.
the level of trust that we can have on ourselves
Oh.
can
Hmm.
improve dramatically. And I think that is one of the biggest advantages of some of the processes that we talk about. You
Hmm.
literally begin to trust yourself when you're unconscious.
Right. What you keep referring to as make your unconscious your ally.
Correct.
Right. Makes sense. Makes sense. Nitin, at this point, I am like, so this question has popped up in my head because you're talking about, you know, all these issues and physical and physiological issues that one may have. What about allergies?
Okay. So allergies. So what is your question about allergies? Ask me the question and then I can.
So, is there, I mean, there, that is also an example of mind body connection. So, is the mind at play there as well?
Yeah, yeah, with
Like so
allergies.
many people are now allergic to gluten, to milk, dairy, and like there's so much of it out there. So what
Okay.
about that?
So we have already, because come to the end of the session, we are already like 1 hour. I'm going to quickly
Hmm.
share one example with you,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And cover the allergy bit.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay. So all right. So see, in allergies, in most cases, there is a mind-body connection, right?
Okay.
Obviously,
Hmm.
there are possibilities where in the body there are certain deficiencies which are also causing certain symptoms,
Yes.
right? And certain allergic reactions, where
Hmm.
you may still need to work with medical practitioners and to be able to identify what those deficiencies are and work with those deficiencies.
Correct.
But in many cases, allergies are a result of mind body connection. And to share probably one example with you,
Hmm.
I had, in fact, this was a friend of mine who would
Hmm.
have this really interesting allergic response every Monday morning. She would wake up in the morning and she would have
Hmm.
patches on her face.
Every Monday
Uh,
morning.
every Monday morning. And by
That's
Thursday, the
interesting.
patches would disappear.
Okay.
And what really worried her was the fact that she was working in a bank in the front
Hmm.
office, right? So she
Oh.
said, "My looks
Hmm.
are really important for me, and
Hmm.
every
Hmm. Hmm.
Monday I have a patch on my face that's kind of ridiculous, right?"
Hmm.
So we
Hmm.
started working, and it was very interesting that when we worked, what came up was, so we
Hmm.
were doing a process, and in that process, the association that came up was
Hmm.
patches on the face
Hmm.
makes me look ugly.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
I look ugly when I
Hmm.
use cheap unbranded stuff.
Okay.
this is a connection, this is an association coming from her childhood, where in one of the situations her mother bought something for her from the roadside, and her father was extremely angry that how can you buy something so cheap for my daughter? My daughter would look ugly if she wears anything so cheap, right? So that
Correct.
idea
Correct.
kind of got fixated in her head.
Hmm.
Okay? And
Hmm.
so cheap stuff makes me look ugly. And
Hmm.
this is a friend, I have known her very well, so she's like
Hmm.
really brand conscious.
Hmm.
मतलब for her, Indian brands are not brands, irrespective of how expensive the clothes can be. That's the kind of
Okay.
person that I'm talking about, right?
Right. Right. Right.
So, and then she said, I was lost. I have no idea what the connection is. I just know that she has referred to patches looking ugly, cheap. And then I say, all
And
right. And just before I'm about to ask her unconscious, what does
hmm.
this mean? She
Hmm.
tells me, I know. I'm like, what happened? She says,
Hmm.
every Sunday I apply this particular nail paint, a
Hmm.
particular shade that I have liked, which is only available on the Thelawala outside my house.
Oh my God.
And then
Okay.
by Wednesday evening, because the
Hmm.
the nail paint starts kind of chipping off, I change
Hmm.
the nail paint color, and then I go back to
Hmm.
my branded nail paints.
Oh,
Okay, now this is incredible, isn't it? And
it
we
is.
know, and we know after that. So because obviously at one level there were two possibilities, that
Hmm.
one, the nail pen that she's using is of poor quality,
Hmm.
right? So we checked that
Hmm.
also. And second, there is just an association. And after we did the process, so we did the identification that there's a complete process to be able to change that association. When we
Hmm.
changed that association, I know for at least 6 months that she used the same nail pen and the patches did not come back.
Oh, right.
Recently, I worked with someone else who had an allergy for eggs.
Hmm.
Okay, we worked with the mind body connection, and the allergic reaction stopped.
Hmm. Very interesting.
Okay?
And she's
And
able
just
to have eat eggs now.
yeah, she's able to. So she actually called me up to tell me, I can't tell you how happy I am, because she was supposed
Hmm.
to travel abroad for her studies. And she
Hmm.
said that egg is one of the most readily available thing as far as food is concerned. So if
Right.
I'm going out and I can't eat egg, chalo ghar pe to there were people who would cook food and give it to me,
Right.
right? While I know cooking, but it's a lot of effort. So if I can cook egg, and if I can eat egg, that will make my life so much more easier.
Right.
Right? Oh, she was so happy with it. She said, "Malab, I don't care about the allergy as much as my life will become a lot more easier going abroad now."
Of course. Of course. That's so interesting. That's
Right? All right. Also,
right.
when I'm talking about allergy and we're talking about working with it, just a
Hmm.
disclaimer that the idea is not like, for example, in her case, she did not like sit with three eggs and had three eggs directly
After uh,
after
the
the process.
unconscious work.
So we did
Hmm.
the process, and then after the process, she tasted a really small bit of egg, and then we
Hmm.
checked what the responses were, and then
Hmm.
eventually we scaled it up because we wanted to be completely sure whether the processes worked for her or not.
Right. Makes sense.
But it
Yeah.
worked. If you're systematic, if you're clear about what you're doing, you
Hmm.
can work with most of the allergies. I'm not saying all the allergies, but most of the allergies. And you can also work with allergies at times when you don't know what the allergen is. As long as you know what the symptoms are, and you know it's an
Hmm.
allergy. Even there, if you're
Hmm.
using some of these processes, you will be able to deal with that allergy.
That's that's wonderful. That's really interesting.
Right?
Okay.
Okay, so though I said I'll share one example, but I'm going to give you one more because it's like it really explains how
Hmm.
allergy can develop. So a lot of people
Hmm.
have this milk allergy,
Oh yes, dairy is very common.
right? So for a
Hmm.
lot of people that I've worked with who have dairy allergies, it
Hmm.
basically boils down to when I was a child, I did not like drinking milk. My mother would force feed me, and the
Hmm.
positive intention behind allergy was, "Ab pila ke batao."
Oh. Oh. And I myself said it is so common. And what you like, even the reason is so common because mothers would like force feed. It's like milk is the best nutrition. Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay. So even if that allergy manifests, you can still work with it. It's okay.
yes, you can. As long as you know the symptoms of it,
Hmm.
what is happening on in your body or on your body, then you will be able to manage it. Matlab, you will be able to take care of it.
That's incredible. That's incredible. I will keep processing it even after the interview ends because there is a lot to digest, literally. Right. Interesting. So, those are some great, great, great insights. And the process was obviously wonderful. And I'm going to, you said I can repeat it on my own, right? Before
You
bed,
can repeat it
before
on your
sleeping,
own.
or. Hmm.
You can repeat it on your own. You can use it even on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Mamta, just before we go ahead and we close the session, so Sudhir has asked that is the session recorded,
Yes.
and can we
Hmm.
listen to the session again? So Sudhir, the sessions
Yes.
are recorded. They're already a part of the ICHR Support Foundation series. There's a series that we have created, which is called the True Talks. All the
Hmm.
previous episodes and the current one are already
Hmm.
available on Facebook, and we are also uploading it on YouTube. Uh,
Hmm.
Probably with a 2 days delay. So
Hmm.
you will also be able to find the same videos on the iChar's online channel on YouTube. Though the video quality on YouTube is better because these are recorded on our screen. What you see on Facebook is what's recorded during the live session.
Perfect. Perfect. That's great. I'm sure a lot of people are going to benefit from these sessions, especially today's. And today we spoke about the body and mind. Nitin, one more thing that's kind of coming up. Isn't our health influenced to a large extent by sleep? Because if you're not able to sleep well, so that I'm sure has a potential to affect health. And how do we work with that?
Yes, it does. Your sleep plays a very important role in terms of your health. But Mumtaz,
Hmm.
sleep by itself is a very big topic, right?
Hmm.
And if I'm not wrong, our topic for tomorrow is sleep,
Yes.
right? So we are going
Yes.
to address a lot of things about sleep tomorrow, in
Hmm.
terms of both what causes issues with sleep, why is it
Hmm.
that some people are sleeping more, some people are sleeping less, and then more
Hmm.
importantly, what do we do to be able to sleep naturally, effortlessly, peacefully? See, remember, with everything that we do naturally, effortlessly is like a tagline for us. Everything that we want people to be
Absolutely.
able to do is supposed to be natural. We don't really want people to have conflict. And with sleep, that's one of the things. One of the reasons why we are not able to sleep is because we are trying too hard to sleep. But well, we will talk about this tomorrow in more detail.
Perfect. And I'm sure we'll get some actionable tips as we have been
Yeah.
getting in each episode, things that we can do on ourselves. And it's because the processes that we have been doing on me, especially, have been working wonderfully. I'm already feeling more relaxed. I'm able to do more in my day. And of course, because we are talking about sleep, and that's why it came up that I do see me sleeping more restfully for the duration that I should, and all that.
Brilliant. So, the processes that we did in the mind, the managing thoughts and emotions wala episode, and the meditation bit that we spoke about, both
Hmm.
will any which ways help you with sleep to a large extent. And then we'll also talk about other things tomorrow.
Perfect. So, does that bring us to the end of this episode?
Yes, I think we have also answered all the questions that people had. So we are good to go.
Yes.
We are done.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you so much, Nitin, for another wonderful episode. And thank you, everyone who joined us online. Just one last thing before we sign off. iChat Support Foundation is running a series of initiatives in various areas. One, to help people cope with the COVID related anxiety. There is another online support group for LGBTQ community. There is a helpline running that you can call if you're facing any issues during this lockdown period. And obviously, you can tune into True Talks every day and listen to what Nitin has to say about. So we answer various questions on various topics. So you can go to www.ichars, that's iCharge.foundation, and look up more about what all these initiatives are about, how you can benefit from them, and how you can contribute. So we'll see everyone tomorrow once again, FP Live, same time, 5:30 p.m. with another episode. And tomorrow we are going to talk about sleep, from restlessness to peace. Thank you, Nitin. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone
Mamta,
else.
for hosting this
Good,
session. Thank you, everyone else, for being here. Thank
good
you.
night. We'll see you
Good night.
tomorrow. Bye bye.